What is your "it's not what it looks like" story? Story 1. I was a lab tech working at a pharmaceutical research lab, and we ran out of pregnancy tests. I went to Walgreens to buy some home tests, and I needed 5 of them. I was about 8 months pregnant. Story 2. My personnel clerk was telling me about an adult activital harassment issue in my office. As soon as she repeated what was said, "Are you asking me for a BJ?" the store gossip walked by, and sure enough, I'm being spoken to by corporate HR within the hour. Thankfully, I had proof of what was actually going on. Story 3. I worked in a supermarket when I was younger, and my boss found me one day lying on my stomach in the aisle with my arm fully outstretched holding a large jar of pickles. This was long before planking, but he still thought was something being done for the lols, and started chewing me out before a customer intervened and explained the situation. The fact of the matter was, I was walking down the aisle when out of nowhere the jar just slipped off the shelf and I dove and caught it. That lady saved my rear that day, and the clerk who was ringing her up got our secret signal, which meant many items were accidentally not scanned. Story 4. I was a student athlete in HS, and our athletic trainer was an attractive 24-year-old girl. I had a hip injury that required an ACE wrap around my hip joint. One day, she was wrapping my hip before practice in a side office of a bigger training room, and 2 other athletes opened the door that we forgot to lock. What they saw was the back of me, with my pants down, and the trainer in front of me, on her knees, with her head in my crotch area, and her hand reaching back grabbing my butt. Her hand was only there for a brief sec while she supported herself. But teenage boys only need to see that image for a fraction of a second for them to imagine something else. In case you're wondering, this side office was always used for more personal treatment like my hip injury. Girls would be taken in there if they had to remove clothing, for example. The bigger training room was always busy, and it had a doorway that was always open, so we didn't want peering teachers, other students, parents, visitors getting a sneaky look at teens in their underwear getting injury treatment. Story 5. Sister went to the bathroom and I hid under her bed to scare her when she came back in. She came back in only wearing a towel. Turns out she was trying on clothes or something. I yelled loudly, "Hey! I'm hiding under your bed and I'm coming out with my eyes closed." At first, I thought to stay put and sneak out later, but figured that would seem way worse when she sees me come out of her room and is like, "WTF?" TLDR, innocent scare prank turned into creepy peeping Tom situation. Story 6. I've posted this before on my old account, but it's funny, so I'll share again. My family and I went to this really weird little festival that happens every spring to celebrate a frozen dead guy. I wanted to do the polar plunge with my dad, so I used spray hair dye to make myself look a bit grey, and I put on a fake beard so I could look like his mini-me. It was so windy that year that they couldn't keep the warming tents up, so our alternative option was to pack in the back of a 1970s ambulance and try and UN dress, then re-dress in warm clothes, with 15 other random naked strangers. My dad didn't want to do that, so he decided he would walk up the main street and change in the cafe bathroom. Unfortunately, it was so cold and windy that hypothermia was starting to set in. I had to go into this tiny rear bathroom with my dad to help him get changed. As we were nearly done, some old lady came barging in the bathroom cause we were taking way too long. At that very moment I realized I had shooted up. My dad was standing up and I was on my knees trying to button up his jeans. Levi 501s have a lot of buttons and they are weird to button on someone else. She had a look of horror on her face and the only thing I could blurt out was, "No, it's okay. He's my dad." That was absolutely not the right thing to say, LOL. Story 7. Spider in my car got me pulled over for swerving all over the road. We found it and the cop just laughed at me. I'm not scared of spiders, but that big shooter was dangling in my face. Story 8. Deleted. Story 9. My dog ate some string. I had to pull it out of his butt on a walk. People were like, "Yikes," and giving me a wide berth. Story 10. A long while ago now, I was walking home from a friend's house. We had been smoking and drinking, so I was a little out of it. It was around 1 a.m. and I was almost home, when I saw this little old lady doubled over and struggling to walk. I asked her if she was okay and if she needed help. She said she was fine, but asked if I could help her home as she didn't live too far away. So I gave her my arm for her to support herself and off we went. Her home wasn't that far, but it was slow going. At this point, I had already decided that I was going to ring an ambulance for her, but thought I'd get her home first. When we eventually made it to her home, she took her key and opened her door, only to collapse into her house and peer out. And then the house alarm went off. And then her neighbors appeared. Luckily, the neighbors believed me and the old lady managed to get some medical attention. Story 11. Found my then girlfriend's panties in the laundry at my house and packed them in my book bag to give back to her. Brought them with me next time I visited, and of course they weren't hers. Thing is, I didn't cheat and they definitely didn't fit anyone else I would have known in recent memory. We weren't exclusive more than a couple weeks at that point. She kinda just hit me with a palm face and an eye roll and we never talked about it again, laughed it off in the moment. I still don't know where those my underwear came from or if they were planted or what. Story 12. I've posted this before, but what the hey, I was hanging out with a guy friend, I'm a girl, watching movies. I fell asleep in the middle of the third one, had a hot dream and woke up to my own orgasm while he sat on the other end of the couch sporting an erection, but with both hands up and looking equal parts terrified and in the mood. I was beyond mortified. He was like, I didn't know what to do. I had actually been dreaming about him and didn't know if I'd said his name or not. I got the shoot out of there. I have never been so shooting mortified in my life. But after a lot of him pushing and me being embarrassed, we ended up dating. Been together about a year now. Edited for clarification. Story 13. I worked on a low-budget movie that never got finished. For one scene, we needed scenes from the crime, gory bloody pictures they would put up on the board in the police office. Dumrier I worked with dropped them off at Walmart for printing and enlargement, back when that was a thing. He did not warn them. When we went to pick them up, he got pounced on by police and had much explaining to do. Also, same guy. I had made 2 corpses from skeletons, using the old tissue paper and latex method. Same genius just tosses them into the back of his pickup truck to take them to the set. Got pulled over for speeding. They pretty much were pulling him out of driver's side window while was he screaming that they aren't real people, over and over again. When they finally touched one and realized it plastic, they let him go while ticketing him for everything they could because they were pissed. Personally, I was thrilled my work was taken so well. Story 14. My mom once barged on my room without knocking with a shocked face and asking, "What are you doing?" I was laying in bed, laptop on my belly, chocolate on my mouth watching YouTube exercise videos. They kept making noises she reassumed was either adult activities or adult entertainment. To this day, we laugh so hard about it faced with tears of joy. Story 15. When I was a teen, I went on a road trip about 6 hours away to meet some friends. I brought a female friend with me cause it sounded fun. We arrived to the mutual friend's house and they show us our room with a single bed. I was mortified, and as soon as they left us alone, I told the girl that this wasn't my plan and I'll see if I can find a couch or something. Thankfully, she was cool with non-adult activities sharing a bed. I awake in the middle of the night with a pretty severe asthma attack. My inhaler is on the nightstand on the other side of her. The rest of the room is covered in various boxes, making a walk around the bed time-consuming and dangerous, so I get a bit closer and reach over her, carefully, to grab the inhaler. My hands are shaky and I knock it to the floor. I realize I have to climb over her to grab it. I sit up, throw one leg over and reach down, grabbing my inhaler and taking it. I smile in relief, look down, and I've woken her up. In the middle of the night by straddling her. She just closed her eyes and went back to sleep. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also check out my newest videos.